Jonathan Mingo headlines Cowboys to watch the rest of the season at 877-881-1053. The Franklin Injury Attorney text line is open if you want to jump in here. What are you looking forward to over the final 7 games of the Cowboys season? And Brian, let's start with you just talking about expectations for Mingo tonight.
Yeah, I think that to me, you parted with a 4th-round pick for the opportunity to have Mingo on your team. I'm going to look and see how that plays out the rest of the way. Is it one of those things like, okay, this was worth it? Because what's going to happen is I'm going to say, yeah, it was worth it, because when Dallas gets to that draft and they're getting the 4th round, is there a wide receiver on that board that played better or could be better than Mingo? That's where I'm looking at this right now. It's going to be kind of tough because of the quarterback situation, but I'm looking to see how much is he worth giving up that pick, and who is going to be on that board in the 4th round. That's the comparison I'm making the rest of the way.
Where's your optimism here, Wolchuk? 1 to 10. You getting fired up here for the chance that Mingo has something?
I'm probably about a 5. I'm right there, like 50-50, because I don't know. I mean, he could have just been in an absolutely terrible situation there in Carolina. I did like some of what we saw of him coming out of college. He certainly is a bigger-bodied, thick as a bowl of oatmeal kind of receiver that they don't really have right now. And the blocking, I think, could be a step up. And I know that kind of sucks. Like, we're talking about, okay, your wide receiver, something I'm excited about is his blocking. But this team can't do that. Like, there's a reason why they're having issues with getting the ball on the edge in the running game and some of the screens and wide receiver screens that they want to use outside. Like, Tolbert's struggling to block out there. Flanoy, maybe he's a guy you get more playing time. But Mingo's a guy that can do that to me. So we'll see. The slants, I mean, he fits in with kind of the offense that we've been seeing them run here lately. So if he can just give me something to be optimistic about going into training camp, where it's like, yeah, I think this dude could maybe be your number 3 or fight to be your number 2 receiver next year, I'd be happy.
Yeah, it's tough because he's going from a bad offense to another bad offense. So it's hard to see, okay, is this going to be something? If this was last year's team and Dak's, the quarterback, and they're kind of rocking and rolling, then you could be like, okay, there could be some optimism that something good can happen here. But he goes from one bad situation quarterback-wise and offensively to another one. So I do wonder how much they try and force-feed it to him tonight, because this is their new toy. It's Monday Night Football, and that could be a nice little talking point for them. I did see Ryan Flanoy Instagrammed that he's getting his first start tonight. Okay. So maybe they're trying to get all the blocking receivers out there as they look to hand the ball off 70,000 times to Rico.
Perfect.
Do you think that he just meant that he was going to have his first active game? Maybe? Or is he actually going to start?
He's been active.
Yeah, he has been active.
He's played a few games, so maybe it is.
Start.
It's the start.
Maybe he's ball sacking us. Who knows?
Tim and CD out
there.
Has
he got that kind of potential, Brian, where you'd throw him up the depth chart like that?
I don't know if I'd throw him up that high right now, though. A lot of these guys are really struggling with their ability to separate. He's a guy that when he's been given some opportunity has flashed. I think that's, the thing I was hopeful for that he would develop, because that's a big guy. I was hoping that, and Zach's absolutely right. They do not win enough on the outside. They just do not when it comes to the crack toss stuff that they run, when they run the screens. He's got to be able to run routes, separate. Yeah, he's a rookie and all those things, but he needs to do a lot more other than that. And I would be real surprised, though. He hasn't shown me personally enough to think that I could put him in the starting lineup tonight, and that would be something that you would get something good out of.
Okay, but Flournoy, Mingo, couple of young offensive players for this Cowboys team. Maybe there's something else that you guys are getting excited about here as we start to turn for the home stretch of this season. But to me, it's just the chance of a top 5 pick, and the fact that the Giants and Cowboys on Thanksgiving are getting together in a game that could decide the 5 seed for the draft order. Then the Giants host the Saints. Then the Giants host the Colts on December 29th before ending in Philadelphia, which could be a meaningless Week 18 game for the Turds. They might be resting. So I see the chance for the Giants to win 3 more games, and if they beat the Cowboys on Thanksgiving, maybe you jump into that top 5, top 3 type of conversation. But you got to get all these games. These are the important ones right here. You can't have any mistakes here. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Dawson, I like what you're doing here, man, but there are a lot of bad teams ahead of you. You think about teams. You look at the way the order is right now: Jacksonville, Tennessee, Cleveland, Vegas. You mentioned the Giants, New England, the Jets, Carolina, and Dallas.
Yeah.
Sitting right there. I mean, you could play bad, but the teams ahead of you are capable of playing just as bad. And I like what you're talking about with the Giants, trying to do something there.
Yeah.
But man, I mean everybody else that's ahead of you are playing really, really bad football.
A lot of them are going to play each other. A lot of them are going to have the games. You just need the luck to be on your side and make sure you don't have any of these turnovers or special team games, that can totally flip a game on its head. Other than that, I think Overshown watching the final 7 games as he starts to get close to 15, 16 total games played. Like, what kind of an added gear could he add to his game here? Nealon coming back. I feel like I'm kind of reaching here, though. There's not much else, out there in the form of potentially exciting storylines. The Cowboys did officially place Dak Prescott on injured reserve today. Defensive back Josh Butler has been signed from the practice squad. They also elevated Princeton Fant and defensive back Keeman Hall from the practice squad. So congrats to those guys and best of luck to them. Must be exciting for them. Jordan Lewis officially out now. CeeDee Lamb still questionable. Have we gotten any update on CeeDee?
Yeah, they expect Lamb to play tonight. That's I got that word before we came on air that they fully expect him to play. How well he'll play, we'll see. But they're confident that he'll give it a go tonight.
And then we have Deron Bland out. Kalen Carson, what's his status? Out?
I think he's okay as well. I say he's dealing with a little bit of a shoulder situation. It's kind of flared back up on him. So tonight I wouldn't be surprised to see Israel Mukuamu start on the outside, and then if they go to nickel, then it'll be Izzy go inside and then Carson to play on the outside.
What kind of a game plan do you expect from the Cowboys tonight, Brian? A heavy dose of Joe Mixon and big plays over the top to Nico. What do you think's going to play out here if Houston has their way?
Yeah, well, Houston's going to try and run the football. They're much better actually running the ball to their left behind Laramie Tunsil. So the right side of the Dallas Cowboys defense needs to be ready for that ball to be bouncing to the outside. Nico Collins, as Eric and everybody's talked about, he's got a lot of size to him. He's a good slant runner. They're going to try and attack you with Tank Dell. I think they're going to want to run the football first is what they're going to try and do. See if they can do some things off the play-action game. This quarterback, believe it or not, though, against pressure is really, really, really good. It's when he faces teams that don't pressure him and don't blitz him, that's where he's had a lot of his turnovers. So let's see how I think that Mike Zimmer will have a similar type of game plan with how bad the Texans are inside and some of the struggles they've had. I wouldn't be surprised if Mike tries to attack that A gap, see if he could get some guys home on top of Stroud before he gets the ball off.
And is that A gap between the guard and center?
It's guard and center.
There's two of them?
Right yeah, each side. So they'll walk guys up, and they'll make these. The Texans have to be aware. They had to watch the tape last week and saw what Zimmer did. He would bring one, drop two. We might see him rush two, drop one. They got to find a way. But when they get home, he called a blitz the other day that got Overshown home. They missed the tackle, would have been a sack, and then it ended up being a touchdown right before half. Can't allow that with this quarterback, though. This guy will hold the football, and then he'll try and throw it. He's been pretty successful operating that way.